From Match to eHarmony to Tinder and OKCupid, dating in the 21st century has gone virtual.
That's right, but here what the do's and don'ts of finding love is on, well, you gotta find love online. Okay?
Right.
So you have to know the do's
Not
and
in
don'ts.
real life.
No. You find love online, and we have to make sure you know the do's and don'ts of finding love online. So here to help us is author, relationship expert, and TheRoot.com contributor, Demetria Lucas.
Hello.
Hey, welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
So, online dating is super hot. So hot that 40 million Americans are all doing it. And I'm just curious, like, why don't people want to meet in real life and they want to meet on their laptops?
Well, it's not necessarily that they want to. I think a lot of people are very frustrated with meeting people in the real world. The fact of the matter is technology has kind of ruined us, and a lot of us just don't know how to communicate very well anymore.
Out loud.
And online is just a little more, it's easier for some people to talk out their words, to think before they, you know, get everything out.
But you make a good point. If they're having this communication online, once they meet, do they know how to talk, or they're like, hold on, let me text you?
Well, a lot of people don't. Like, I mean, you guys are both all out the game, but yeah, like a lot of people just don't. Like, yeah, and I'm on my way out, so yeah.
Hey.
But yeah, like a lot of people just don't know how to communicate anymore. It's kind of a sad situation. But also, let's be clear, online is very convenient. Like, you can sit at home in your pajamas, rollers in your hair, and you can look for people. You can just click and see, you know, who's out there.
But it's convenient, but how safe is it? And like, how much information should you actually reveal about yourself online? Because a lot of people are like putting everything out there, you know.
Or, you know, not themselves at all.
Oh, well, yeah, that too. Well, we can get to that. You know, I think it's sort of, you have to be sensible. You know, there's credit card scams, there's ID theft, there's all of that. I think you start with, like, your basics, like your first name, the city where you live in. You know, you don't have to, you know, narrow it down to the neighborhood. And your age. Be honest about your age and definitely your weight. And actually use your own picture, a recent one.
I was going to say, because some people put that a picture from 20 years ago.
Like, no.
Catfish is so very real.
It is. It very much
Speaking
is.
of which, what are the popular safe sites and the ones that are most effective to find love?
You know, I think it depends on what you're looking for, but I like to go with the bigger ones like your Match.coms, your eHarmonies, and even though some people kind of knock it, but your Black People Meet.
I was going to say.
So I know a lot of people that have met on Black People Meet.
Silos.
So,
And Christians, they have one
Christians
as well.
Meet, there's one for
yeah.
Jewish ladies.
Really?
Yes.
So yeah, so I like the niche sites like that. So if you're very into religion or you're very into
Farming.
anything,
There's
if
a
you're
farming
very
one.
into farming,
No.
whatever
And
it
cowboys.
is, if that's very popular for you, then you can go to that site. And so you definitely have someone that's interested in just that. You know, also, I'll throw this one out there. If you have an STD, because a lot of people...
Are there STD dating sites?
Absolutely.
Well, that's good, though, because you actually know what you're getting into. Everything's on the table.
You know, at least one thing. There could be others. I mean, let's just...
When's the last time you've been tested?
I wonder how open people are with these STDs on the website, though. Like, do you mention one and maybe not mention the other three?
Well, they usually have them for very specific ones.
Okay.
There's
So
only
like
a couple that are
HIV
not
website
like... There could be an
or-
HIV,
That
there
actually
could be a
makes
herpes.
sense.
Yeah. Okay.
But usually for the ones that can't be cured, because otherwise, you know, just go to the doctor.
Okay, so once you meet this person online, what's the next step? Do you make a phone call? Do you meet them in person? What type of encounter do you have with the person?
So they reach out to you in whatever medium they do, whether it's the chat or the email. You go back and forth a couple times, and then you escalate it to a phone call. This should happen in about a week. You talk on the phone about 2 to 3 times, and then you meet up in public in a safe place with lots of other people around, and you have a coffee or a dinner. I don't necessarily suggest a drink because it's, you know, someone you just don't know.
Get too
Right,
tipsy.
right, right.
Not too
That's a good
tipsy.
point. Okay.
But just meet them in person. I think online dating is actually a misnomer. So it's, people say like online dating, but it's not where you date. It's where you meet. You date still in the real world.
Now, do you think
Black
that makes
people
it
meet,
easier?
Website wins again.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think it makes it easier for them to have that first date and not make it so awkward because they've already started the communication, they already know a little bit more about each other?
I think the first time you meet someone in person is always just a little bit awkward. Like even if you meet like face to face and then you go out on a date, just the idea of a first date is just an awkward encounter.
Okay,
So,
fair enough.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice to be nervous, though.
It is, a little butterfly.
Yeah, like, I don't know if they're more butterflies because you've never actually seen them in person, or if you, like, met them drunk and then
Well, sometimes
you'll
I think...
show up sober and fancy
like,
for the
what is
second,
this?
right, for the real date.
Yeah, but I think sometimes the problem is that, especially when you talk too often on text or chat, is you build the person up in your head, the idea of what they are, and like that's why I'm sort of like the fast forwarding thing. So get that first communication, get on the phone, and then meet in person before you get to build this fantasy that someone can never live up to.
So what's a safe way to break it off if you're not interested in the person once you do meet in person?
I think a phone call is sufficient.
Okay,
Just
so you
to
say bye
hey.
then, and then later it's like, oh, sorry, not going to work out.
You know, I think so many of us are nervous about being rejected and also giving rejection, but I think it makes it worse when you drag it out.
Okay.
When the person's calling you, when they're emailing you, hey, I had a great time, I'd love to see you, and you're like, yeah, maybe we'll get up. But if you actually just say, hey, you know, I had a great time, but I just don't think this is what I'm looking for, I think people can respect that. And even though it's rejection, I think they can handle it a little bit better if it's upfront.
So go back to the websites.
Right.
Now, speaking of one popular website, OKCupid, everyone thought it was this big, you know, hookup site, meeting site, but it turned out to be a social experiment. Explain what happened, and after this experiment, is it still going to be a popular site to go to, or is it
I
over?
think because of the branding of OKCupid, I think it's going to be all right in the back end.
Okay, so what happened exactly? What was the experiment they did? And I think it was that they were...
So they had a couple,
Okay.
and my favorite was, we're going to turn off the photos, because as we said earlier, you can see what people look like in your pajamas at
Yeah.
home. While you're,
right.
We're going to turn off the photos and see if you are interested in people's personality profiles alone, and then at the end of the day, we're going to turn on the photos again and see if you still like their personalities matching with their face. And it was interesting, because a lot of people were like, just kidding, no, I don't really care about your personality. Not into that, not with that Facebook.
Yeah, I think, well, the pictures are back, so I think everyone's like, oh, okay, like, you know, chill out for a minute. But it's just like meeting in the real world. Like, you see someone across the room, you don't think like, oh, I wonder what their personality is like. You're like, oh, I like their energy, I like their swagger, I like them, I like their height. You like something
Who
physical
cares if
about
they're
them.
smart?
If they're smart, it's like a bonus. But it's like,
Right.
but you want to know, like, you know, are they hot? Okay, well, now let me find out something more.
Oh my God. So TV dating shows like Catfished, which is
one
so
of the best
scary.
shows on television.
Right. Dating Naked and The Bachelor have become increasingly popular.
Yes.
So what does this mean for the average person? Like, if we're all sitting around watching one guy make out with 12 women in the exact same hot tub at different times, like, what are we supposed to take away from
I think
that?
we're supposed to take away that this is entertaining television, that is completely and utterly produced behind the scenes, and none of this takes place. And disgusting. On top of
You
that.
have a lot of guys, that's how I'm going to meet my wife.
Yo,
yeah,
man,
that's what I'm
I
going
gotta
to
give
do.
me a hot tub.
Options.
Clearly,
Right.
this is what goes down.
Like, no,
in the
sir.
hot tub.
No, sir. Dating naked, I saw, like... the first-
Ridiculous.
I was like, seriously. And we're going to pretend that everyone's not just ogling one another. Okay.
Right.
All right.
What,
I really
what does
liked
this world
her-
come to, though, when you have to have a show
feelings.
that's called Dating Naked?
The struggle
It's called
is real.
ratings. It's called ratings.
very
It's called
true.
The Struggle is also
But will any
very
of these
real.
people ever stay together? I
No.
mean, from any of these
No.
shows, there's already the reality show curse, and now you're going
Yeah.
under the dating show reality curse?
Yeah, no.
You're not going to make it.
I wouldn't be on one of those shows. That's just me. Would you ever appear on any of those shows?
No, not those kinds. I think I've
Those
done
guys.
enough, sir.
Exactly. Okay. So do you think that the shows like that are making people hesitant to get into the dating game because they're like, oh my gosh, that's what they're doing, that's what's out there?
I don't know if hesitant to get into the dating game. I think dating naked is so far-fetched, you know, that's never going to happen. But I will say that Catfish, like, after that, I know people were like, I don't know about online dating anymore. I really think that had a huge impact on people's perceptions of online dating and made them a little more, what's the word, wary.
Nervous?
Okay,
Nervous.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so what last tips do you have for someone who wants to get into the online dating game?
Safely.
Yes,
Safely.
yes.
I think we're going to have to reiterate, be yourself. Put up a positive profile. I think a lot of times people go online and they do a profile and it gives too much about some past situation. You might see
Like a
little,
Facebook post.
Like a
My
status
last
update.
boyfriend beat me, he was a drunk, and I don't want that again.
It's like, ma'am, you're not ready.
Too much.
You're not ready. Thank you. So be yourself, an updated recent picture, a positive profile. And I think especially for women to make an effort to meet people, to go out and look and say hello. I think sometimes they think it's just enough to upload a picture and I'll just sit here and people will come to me, and that's not the case. The guys have a lot of options. They are using them, and they're looking at the women who reach out to them, smile and say hi.
Okay, so smile and say hi.
It
Great
works
advice.
online as well.
There you go. Thank you so much for joining us once again.
Super
Great
welcome.
tips.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right.
Great safe tips, guys.
There you go.
don't get
And we'll be
catfished.
back with more Rise Entertainment 360.